Ever more hostile weather conditions seems to be dominating newscasts. Just last fall, we had horrific conditions here when tornadoes struck down, destroying a number of homes in the community. Fortunately, nobody died. We've had flooding in the area in recent years, and of course, when you look across the Canadian landscape and beyond, there have been all kinds of incidents, including a gross increase in forest fires, for example. Well, the large insured catastrophic losses in Canada have grown astronomically in the last 10 or 15 years. And that has experts suggesting that maybe we need to change the way we build our homes in light of this change in climate conditions. Glenn McGillivray is a director of the Institute for Catastrophic Loss Reduction, and he joins us now. Glenn, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How can we protect ourselves better from climate change? Because, whether you're in denial or not, the reality is things are changing, and we're seeing that. The best evidence of that is in the kind of claims that insurance companies are weathering of late.
Absolutely. And, there are a range of issues, a range of things that people can take, and there are things that government must do. There are things that corporations must do. There are things that private properties must do, private property owners must do. We're advocating, though, among many other things, that building code has to change so that our new homes are built better than they have been in the past in light of the rise in extreme weather that you spoke of.
What might that look like? What kind of changes would you advocate in building codes, for example?
Well, first of all, let me say that we have a pretty decent building code in Canada. It is one of the best in the world, and our home builders in this country do a very good job at building new homes. But we find gaps, little things, and we really don't advocate a wholesale change to building code. We just find that there are little tweaks that can be made to, for example, keep roofs on in extreme wind events. And we can do this for about $150 using these clips. There are some other different ways of keeping a roof on better, and of the 2 or 3 ways, none of them really add very much to the price of a new home. There are things that can be done very easily to prevent sewage from coming back in the basements during extreme rainfall events. About another $150 when a home is built brand new. There are different things like this, more nails, longer nails, and that sort of thing that can make a really big difference during extreme weather events, but add very little cost to the price of a home.
That's really interesting, and I'm sure the home buyer who's getting a home built would be all in when it comes to that, given the fact that, as you say, it doesn't cost that much. So why aren't we doing it?
Well, I think there's a traditional way of building homes in this country. The home building industry is a very conservative industry, and they feel that they make homes that are good enough, and they do make very good homes. Like I say again, a new home holds up way better to severe weather than an older home does in this country. But I think home builders need a little bit more cajoling, a little bit more understanding about what's happening out there, the fact that new homes are being damaged in extreme events, and that, again, we're not advocating big, huge changes to codes, that we're only advocating little inexpensive tweaks. We've talked to a lot of home builders and associations about this, and we find the home builders on the whole are quite interested in what we have to say. They don't throw us out of the room. They're listening, but they want to make sure that it's done right, among other things. And so these discussions are ongoing, but it's going to take some time.
Yeah, I would think that builders would want to jump at this. I'd advertise it if I was a home builder. I'd say that, we've taken these additional measures here.
That's a really interesting point you make, because it's absolutely true. So there are places in this country, cities, that have mandated backwater valves in all new construction through bylaw. And when the mandate comes through, builders do exactly that. They use it as a promotional tactic, as a marketing tactic, put it in their brochures that, hey, this house has a backwater valve. So once it's in a code and once it's codified and there, the building industry don't fight it anymore, and they do just that. They flip it over and make it a marketing tool. So I'm all for that.
Backwater valves, I'm sure some of our listeners are scratching their head a little bit. I'll get you to explain it. And it came up for me recently when I was renewing my home insurance. They asked me if I had that. So there's plenty of financial incentive right now for people to go ahead and have that kind of work done.
Absolutely. If you already own a home and it doesn't have a valve, there are a lot of places in Canada that will help subsidize the cost of a backwater valve. These are very simple devices that go on the sewage lateral that's leaving your home. There's a trap door in this device, and so it will allow sewage to leave your home freely. But if that sewage attempts to reverse flow and come back into your basement, the trap door will go up and prevent the backflow. Again, when you're building a new home, it's only about $150 and very, very simple to put in. When you're retrofitting one in, it costs a little bit more, but places like, I believe, Ottawa will help incentivize the cost of these devices, and about 25 or 30 major cities in Canada will help pay for these things. So they're very, very worthwhile to take a look at because the cost of a flooded basement with sewage can be anywhere from $40,000 right on up to over $200,000 we've seen.
Yeah, we saw that in an area in Canada a number of years ago here where there was significant flooding, flash flooding, and a lot of people had the sewage backing up into their house. It caused catastrophic damage for a lot of people. So you can take proactive measures in that regard. Now, we've been talking a lot about what new home builders can do. What about existing homeowners? Are there things that they can do to improve the chances of getting through a sudden weather event?
Yeah, well, we have a whole range of information on our website, www.iclr.org. A lot of the things that we recommend don't cost a lot of money, just involves maybe going to Home Depot or Canadian Tire on the weekend, picking up a few things. And you can take measures to prevent wind damage in your home. You could take measures to prevent basement flooding. We have a whole range of things on our website, snow and ice events and that sort of thing. Lots of pretty simple things, generally speaking, and you just kind of have to have the information and have the will. So we have the information. We can't give you the will, but if you're so inclined, you can check our website, and we have several booklets that will direct people in the right place.
Yeah, you can pay now or you can pay a whole lot later. Even if you're not directly struck, if you're in an area that was struck, you could see your insurance rates go up. So it's in a collective interest of a community, really, to take some of these precautions.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just the dollar figures. It's the stress and other things. I mean, we're seeing this out of Dunrobin and Gatineau and places like that right now, where people still aren't made whole yet, and the stress is really, really damaging. And, just sewage in the basement, you could lose important documents, important heirlooms and photographs and things of this nature. It all adds up. And people say, oh, it's okay, I have insurance. Well, that doesn't take care of those other things. It doesn't take care of the heirlooms. It doesn't take care of the stress. It doesn't take care of that end of things. And so, I mean, really, we all have an insurance policy. We don't want to use it. That's one of the points we want to make. I would rather pay my premium every year and not use that policy. But on top of that, we really have to, as private property owners, do a few things to protect ourselves because it's nobody else's responsibility but our own.
Glenn, as we let you go here, give us the website address again if people want to check it out a little bit more.
Sure, www.iclr.org, and we have a lot of information in both official languages there. And if you have the will, the information is there. Just head on off to the big box store on the weekend, get a few things, and you can make your family safe and you safer.
Good idea. Or you can just probably Google Institute for Catastrophic Loss Reduction. They'll get to your website.
You got it.
Glenn, thank you. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Glenn McGillivray, Director of the Institute for Catastrophic Loss Reduction.